Happy Left-Handers Day, fangirls and fanboys. You're listening to episode 72 of Electric Fancave on ElectricFeast.com, which means you've made at least one really good decision today. Listen, Sesame Street made a deal with HBO, Nicholas Sparks made a deal with the CW, Tom Hardy's going comic book, Tom Hiddleston's going country, and there's a chance the way you pronounce the name of that bear family from the old kids' book says something about what universe you grew up in. Ready to have your mind blown? All that and more unfolding right now. It's a crazy world we live in, Laddie.
It is a crazy world we live in.
Crazy. How are you doing in this crazy world?
Doing pretty good.
Yeah.
It's warm. It's been warm.
So warm. We're a broken record here, and you know what? We really shouldn't complain because
we live in California.
There's so many other places that are so much hotter.
They're so much hotter. We're just such wimps.
Did you see? Like, Iran was at, 125 degrees or something like that?
That's not humanly possible to live there.
I know. It's insanity.
Right?
Bobby Hill has spoken on this. You should not. It's a testament to man's hubris. You should not live in places like that. But seriously, that's what it said. I remember it being something that I felt was completely, impossible. And so I just Googled it, and weather.com says the Iraq-Iran heat wave reached 125 degrees. Feels like temp reached 164. I don't know how that works. I don't know how you determine that 164 is what it feels like.
How do you even know what that is?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. But my point is, it was 125 degrees in Iraq.
You guys,
which is insane.
We're all dying. We're all going to cook to death.
We are. We're going to cook to death. I can't do that.
This is going to be like, never mind.
Good story. So in short, me complaining about it being 85 is ridiculous, but it's just, it's too much. And I mean, down in the LA area where neither of us are, we're both beachside, so it's a little cooler, but it is, getting towards 100 in that general area, and it's supposed to be over 100 next week. So you know what? It's all relative. All I'm saying is I'm sweating and I don't like it.
You don't like it?
I don't like it. I'm not.
I don't like it.
I'm not into it. I'm not into it. You know what else I don't like? This is random. This has nothing to do with anything. So, you know the movie The Gift? It's
the one with Jason Bateman and
Jason
Joel
Bateman.
Edgerton.
So, our local theater, the one that's right around the corner, has had this giant standee for it for at least 2 months, maybe more. Huge. It's 3-sided standee. It's at least 6.5 feet tall. Huge. And so The Gift came out last Friday, I guess. They're not playing it. They're not playing The Gift.
Or they're not ever going to play it.
It's not on any, I looked at, the next week or whatever when I looked it up, and it's not playing at all there. There's one theater in the whole county that's playing, and it's all the way down in Santa Barbara. And I was like, why have they been advertising this with this giant standee if they have no intention of playing the actual movie? What? And from what I've heard, it's actually good. And I've my thought process was this is going to be a terrible movie.
Yeah.
But I'm going to enjoy the hell out of it. And now that all the reviews are coming out and everything, it's apparently amazing. And I don't have access to it at my local movie theater that's been taunting me with it for months. So I don't like that either.
I told you about my cousin, right? She works for a movie review.
Oh, the one who
podcast.
got the weird
gift in the mail, and they were like, "What is this?" And then they realized it was a promo, and she was like, "So none of it," and they hadn't seen the movie yet either, and they were on the same accord as you, being like, "I don't think this movie even looks like this, but this is an awesome promo." And I don't know if they've seen it by this point or not, but.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh.
I was actually talking about it when I was at the movies last at that movie theater, because you can't help but talk about a giant standee that's in the middle of the lobby. And I have another friend who works doing a lot of marketing stuff for films, stuff like that. So she was working on Goosebumps and Minions and all that kind of stuff. And so I told her about that promotion for The Gift, and she was like, dude, that's a great idea. I'm like, I know, right? And apparently it's good, so I really want to see it, but it's not here.
Sorry.
I know, it just makes me sad. It just makes me sad in a lot of ways. That's okay, I don't have time for such things anyway. I'm back to teaching again.
Woo woo!
Molding young minds. All that, teaching them about film. Yeah, but, last week, Kristen and I got the chance to get together in person, which doesn't happen all that often.
Doesn't.
It's not.
Oddly. You wouldn't think that, the way that we carry on. But
Yeah. But no, we don't get to see each other in person very often. But we managed, me and our friend Brienne, who the triumvirate of us makes up the No Pants Clan that we reference quite often. We were hanging out and we passed by this restaurant called Ritters. And we are like, what is that? So I looked it up on Yelp and I was like, dude, bruh, this is like some New Orleans type stuff. They have all these cool things that have seafood and oysters and whatnot. We need to go there. And then I was like, well, it's like Kristen's favorite thing too. And
it
so
is so true. I basically eat myself silly and
yeah. So we like called up. Yeah, we called up Laddie. And she was like at first a little hesitant. They're like, let's go to dinner. She's like, no, I have no pants on. I don't want to do it. And then we're like, New Orleans cooking. And she's like, okay, 20 minutes. I'll be there. Oh my gosh. It was so good. It was
totally
so good.
Worth it.
Ritters is the name of this joint. Ritters. And they're expanding to like the Bay Area, San Diego. I don't know where else. Anaheim. Like,
remember they were going to put one in the train station?
Yeah, that's right. If you live in Orange County, you've seen this weird train station that we have now that, like, is it supposed to look like something?
I don't really know what its deal is. I'm not sure why the lights are there. They're a little distracting.
It is, and it's weird that it goes all night.
I'm not sure what trains go there.
I mean, I guess
like,
people
can... What stop is that?
Right, it's in the middle of nowhere, so, like, if you went to it, it must have to sort of backtrack to get back out. Like, it's very odd, but I'm sure it's very convenient if you want to go to an Angels game or a Ducks game, because it's right in front of the pond or the Honda Center. Or a concert. But it's just this strange, like, super lit up jellyfish looking building there. But they are putting a Ritters in it. I guess they're putting restaurants and stuff in this stop, so that's cool.
Check it out.
Yeah, this is gonna be one of those things that, like, 50 years from now, it's like, you know, when you go places that had a World's Fair and you're like, what the hell is that thing? Oh, they had a World's Fair there once. Like, this building is gonna be one of those inexplicable, like, oh, it was 2015, they thought this was a good idea. I don't know. But you guys, if you have the opportunity to go to one of these places, and we met Mr. Ritter.
Mr. Ritter. I don't even know if that was really his name or not.
I think it is. Considering it said Ritter on his thing, not like Ritters, the place, like.
Oh,
I think
maybe. But it wasn't Ritters like apostrophe S. It was just Ritters with an S.
Was it? Either way, he was one singular Ritter. And
Either way,
he said he was
the executive chef, and he was delightful.
Yeah, he was wonderful.
And all the servers were really great. They put up with our weird shenanigans at the bar.
So
we
weird.
just laughed. We were so loud. It was unbelievable.
I mean, if you imagine,
food is incredible. Yeah. You guys got the what? The pan.
The pan something.
I got something, and I got the etouffee, and both were delicious.
Oh my god, delicious.
Amazing.
So. We like to eat, y'all. And then the beignets come in sets of 3. Which was perfection, because we come in sets of 3 as well. So it was really delightful. We had a wonderful time just being ridiculous. Like, if you could imagine what we're normally like here on the Fancave, this is not different from regular life us. Yeah. So we're really overwhelming everywhere we go.
When we're in public, it causes problems for the people around us.
It's, but we're friendly, so people don't seem to mind a whole heck of a lot.
Yeah, they kind of just laugh, and I feel like some of them want to pat us on the head, like,
oh,
that's
honey,
adorable.
You kids. Do you
live in like a closet somewhere, or like in a hole in the ground? They don't let you out much, do they?
Yeah, that's basically what it comes down to. Also, hey, so as I mentioned, it's Left-Handers Day.
It's Left-Handers Day.
I am one of those.
Day, Corrigan.
Thank you. I appreciate that. To be fair, I cheat a little bit. I'm sort of ambidextrous, but there's certain things that I only do with my left hand. So
me too.
Really?
I drink with my left hand.
Oh, interesting.
You know why?
Why is that?
Because when you're at a party and you're holding a cup, and it's got the condensation on it, and you go to shake someone's hand, you don't want a clammy, wet, cold hand. So I drink with my left hand, so then I can go and shake with my right, and it's not disgusting.
That's really practical. That's not really how my left-handedness works. I write with my left hand.
Y'all.
Not just a hat rack. Well, I do things that I have to be really precise with my left hand, So I don't usually write with my right hand unless I have like a hand cramp or something like that. But so I write with my left hand, but like I bat and throw righty because that was how I learned to do it. So I can do it the other way, but essentially I'm a lefty. So happy me day.
Happy you day.
Yeah.
There's very many famous left-handers, you guys.
Ooh, interesting.
And I looked up some of them for you, which I thought would be interesting for us.
Yes.
Fun fact, James Garfield, lefty.
Yes! That makes me so happy. I didn't know Garfield was a lefty.
And of course, our good BFF,
Barry
Obama, lefty.
Barry O. Oh my gosh, I have all the best presidents. Yeah.
You also have HW.
Okay, well, can't win them all.
Ford,
can't win them all.
And Herbert Hoover. So.
Oh man. Okay, I don't have all the best presidents.
Can I have your little bubble? I just want to pop it real quick.
It started strong.
Guess who you have?
Who?
The notorious RBG.
Oh shoot! Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Also, you have John McCain.
Oh God! I'm not lifting my arms above here.
Game. I like doing this. I'm gonna.
You like this game where you like put me at like this apex and then crush it?
Joan of Arc. But they put a question mark by her name, so I don't know if that means.
Well, because how would you know
lived,
that? Yeah.
Or if they don't know if she was actually left-handed. Fidel Castro.
Oh, good. That's great.
Buzz Aldrin.
Yes! Boom! Buzz Aldrin. Feel great about
JFK.
that. Really?
Which is weird, because he wasn't under... JFK Jr. Sorry.
I
was like, wait, why wasn't he listed with the presidents? Because these are
you
listed
would think.
by like genres. JFK Jr.
Okay.
And his sister, oddly.
Which one?
Vin Scully.
Okay, well, wait,
Caroline.
which... Oh, Caroline Kennedy. Yeah, that's good. She's a BAMF.
She is a BAMF.
I feel great about that. Okay.
Dude, I'm actually Vin Scully. That's a cool one. I like her. Yeah, Marsha Clark. Remember her from the O.J. Simpson trial?
Oh, Marsha Clark. Wow.
Hey, Bart
TBT.
Simpson and Jack the Ripper.
Oh, Jack the Ripper. I didn't know they had the forensics to know that at the time.
And John Dillinger.
John Dillinger. I just showed my class
Boston Strangler, which is...
Oh, good. Lots of murdering people. I just showed my class the beginning of Seven Psychopaths the other day, in which they have a conversation about John Dillinger being shot through the eyeball. And so I feel like it's appropriate to find that John Dillinger is one of us Southpaws.
There you go.
That's it.
Let me see who else we got here.
Yeah,
Famous Lewis Carroll.
Oh, that's good. He did a lot of opium, right?
H.G. Wells.
Oh, H.G. Wells. Nice. Lots of good creative authors of classics.
Glenn
Campbell. All right.
The Everly Brothers, both John and Phil.
Both of them? Wow.
Allegedly. I'm not really sure how accurate this website is, but it says EDU in the title from Indiana.
Then.
So I feel like it must be somewhere. Jimi Hendrix.
Nice. I wonder, did he play lefty? Did he have a lefty guitar?
I don't know. That's why I'm like, But Paul McCartney, for sure. I know. I always thought that was weird about him. He plays
he plays the other way. Yeah. Now I think about it, I'm like, I think Hendrix did play lefty. In my mind, if I'm imagining the photos correctly.
Go.
But, interesting.
See, left-handed actors. Ooh, you're in some good company
here. Oh, am I?
Aykroyd, Tim Allen.
Oh, Timmy.
Oh, Robert Blake.
Oh, God. Why all the murderers? Why are there so many murdering lefties?
George Burns.
It's part of our creativity. Yeah. We're creative murderers.
James Cromwell. Tom Cruise.
Oh, that'll do, pig.
Matt Dillon.
Okay. I prefer Matt Damon, but Matt Dillon's cool, too.
Olivia de Havilland.
All right.
Robert De Niro.
Hey, Bobby D. Richard Dreyfuss.
Peter Fonda. Greta Garbo.
Hey. Whoopi?
Cary Grant.
We were just watching, also in class the other day, we were watching His Girl Friday.
Oh,
classic. Okay, but here's the thing. So it was pointed out that in Some Like It Hot, Tony Curtis modeled his Shell Oil Jr. voice after Cary Grant, and now I can't unhear it. So we were watching His Girl Friday, and all I could hear was Tony Curtis and Some Like It Hot, and I was like, no, you're ruining everything for me. No. I mean, I still love Cary Grant. Michael Landon, Little Joe. Whoa, let's not skip over Little Joe like that's nothing. Bonanza is like my favorite thing in the world.
I'm just also saying Peter Lawford.
Okay, that's great.
Status.
Yeah.
Danny Kaye. Oh.
Danny Kaye. Have you ever seen A Song Is Born? Nobody has ever seen this.
You know who's seen it? I bet $100.
Your dad. Tom Latterell has probably seen this.
Loves Danny Kaye. Anytime we watch anything with Danny Kaye, he goes, yeah, you know he couldn't read music. Yes, Dad. I know. Told me that fact every time we watch anything.
Will you ask him for me next time? Next time you see Tom, ask him if he's seen A Song Is Born.
I'm texting him right now.
Okay,
A Song Is Born.
Text him right now. A Song Is Born. It's one of the... Danny Kaye is in it, and I loved it when I was in middle school. My music teacher showed it to us, and then it's not streaming anywhere, and every time I bring it up to people, when they mention Danny Kaye, they have no idea what this movie is. I just need someone...
To you, my dad has seen it.
Okay, I hope so. Don't fail me, Tom. We'll see what happens. Yeah. What else we got?
Howie Mandel.
Howie Mandel, OCD and Lefty. Who?
Steve McQueen.
Steve McQueen, super cool.
Marcel Marceau. Harpo Marx. Marilyn Monroe.
Marilyn Monroe! Look at that.
Estelle Parsons.
I don't know who that is.
I don't know who that is either. Oh. I just thought I threw out someone to see who they were.
Fair enough.
Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman, Hellboy. Okay, we're back on track.
Ooh, Robert Redford. Keanu Reeves.
Oh,
Julia Roberts. Mickey Rourke.
Mickey Rourke.
Jerry Seinfeld. Christian Slater.
Christian Slater. Mr. Robot. All right.
Uh-huh.
I'm into
Rip
that.
Torn. Interesting.
Rip Torn.
Not you hear. Ooh, Dick Van Dyke.
I love Dick Van Dyke.
Did I tell you how I said? Did I ever tell you that story when I said good morning to Dick Van Dyke?
Maybe. I don't know. Tell it again. I can never get over it.
Well,
Melanie's the only person who will remember this. Oh, all right. Bruce Willis. That's all we need, Lefties.
So Dick Van Dyke. So I was in Malibu at like a retreat center, and we'd walked down. It was like up on this hill. It was like this kind of up in this back of this hills in Malibu, and we'd walked down this kind of long, windy road to get coffee. There was a coffee shop down at the corner. So we were, and this was a Sunday morning, and so we had walked down and got coffee, and then we were walking back up, and as we're walking back, he comes out to get his paper. He lived in the neighborhood below this retreat center. And all of us are, like, losing our effing minds.
I would pee.
Like, want to be cool.
Straight up pee.
Like, just trying to get his newspaper.
Sure.
You know.
But it's Dick frickin' Van Dyke.
But it's also Dick Van Dyke. And so we're like, we're walking, and I don't remember, I don't know, maybe we all kind of were like, oh, good morning. And he looked at it, I mean, I can't even try and do his voice, but his voice, which is like,
yeah, his
so
voice.
Him. He's like, oh, you know, good morning. That wasn't it, but, you know. I was like, what do I do with my hands?
Like, I would straight, like, I think I'd cry. Like, honestly, if Dick Van Dyke said hello or good morning to me, I'd cry.
We kind of, like, dissected it the whole rest of the way back. Which
yeah.
was nothing to dissect.
No,
all
but...
he said was good morning, and then he walked inside his house. But he had his little dog with him, and they come out and got the paper, and he was like, oh, good morning. And we're like, ah! I
couldn't manage it. So
it was pretty exciting.
That would be unreal. That's a great story in and of itself. You don't need any more than that, because Dick Van Dyke is so iconic that him saying good morning to you, like, you might as well have, had a slumber party at his house.
But I've said good morning to Dick Van Dyke, and I've met Tom Hanks.
So, American Treasure achievement unlocked. That's all we're saying here.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So
he's great.
Yeah.
Anyone else of note, or is that pretty much sum it up? I mean, Bruce Willis is a pretty good mic drop.
Bruce Willis is a pretty good mic drop. I'm trying to think of someone here that you would actually care about. Ty Cobb.
Ty Cobb. Okay, yeah. That makes sense.
Ken Griffey Jr., Tony Gwynn.
Okay, yeah.
Shoeless Joe Jackson.
Shoeless Joe from Hannibal Moe.
Sandy Koufax.
All right. I mean, I feel like with baseball players, it's more obvious, especially when it comes to pitchers, but, you know, yeah.
Still, trying to give you something.
All right, no, that's fair. That's
Tommy
fair.
Lasorda.
I do like it, yeah. It's good.
Tom says, yes, a good movie with Danny Kaye and Virginia Mayo.
Good job, Tom! Yay! Yes, I'm so glad he even knows.
Strawberry.
Yeah, Daryl Strawberry. Remember him.
Uh-huh.
Old school.
Did he end up dying? Because he had AIDS, right? Did he die, or is he still alive?
That's a good question. I don't know if he had AIDS. I know he had a lot of problems. Like, didn't he have like drug issues and stuff like that?
I did, but I thought he. Whatever. Anyway,
I don't know.
We hope we're not dead, Daryl Strawberry.
We hope you're still thriving, doing your thing. But
that went downhill fast.
Dick Van Dyke. Dick Van Dyke, though, right? Like, what a cool dude.
Day, people.
Yeah, to all of us out there, us Southpaws, getting our day. We may not be able to open a can.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
for those of you who just do random things left-handed.
Yeah.
Today is also your day.
To those who drink with their left hand so they can shake with their right, we salute you as well.
Thank you.
This is very Home Improvement. We salute you.
Actually learned that one from my pops. He taught me to do that.
He would. Tom Latterell,
He's a thoughtful guy, that Tom.
Man. Hey, Kristen.
Hey.
Did you hear about Sesame Street?
Yeah, I did hear about Sesame Street.
I don't know what to make of this.
At first I was a little bit annoyed, but then when I read the story, I was like, well, I guess they kind of do what they gotta do.
Yeah, so here's what's happening. Sesame Street has been picked up for at least 5 years by HBO. And the deal is, basically, Sesame Street was sort of struggling. They only get a little bit of their funding from PBS, and the rest comes from other forms of outside donors and from marketing, licensing, selling toys and things like that. So they'd already had to cut back the number of episodes that they could do per season. So HBO comes in and sort of rescues them to make longer seasons over the next 5 years, and apparently also some other Sesame Street-related programming that they're going to be putting out there. Their plan also is to basically keep the programming to themselves for 9 months and then stream it for free to PBS after that. I'm so conflicted on this because one of the things that is so important about Sesame Street is that it both represents and is accessible to poor people. I mean, it's an inner city show when it comes down to it. It's about minorities. It's about people living sort of in these urban areas and the problems that they face, And so putting it on HBO makes it a little inaccessible. And one of the problems is that also as soon as this deal goes through, I guess they're taking all of the streaming Sesame Street that's already on Netflix and Amazon off so that they can exclusively hold it on HBO.
Have it on HBO. And HBO streaming stuff, right?
Yeah, and HBO streaming, HBO Now, HBO Go, all of that sort of stuff, which is cool, but a lot of people can't afford that. On the other hand, it is cool that they're saving Sesame Street, which is an institution, and we don't want to see that sort of canceled. They do a lot of recycling in the episodes. I don't know if you've seen any of the episodes in the past, 5 to 10 years or whatever, but a lot of them are just sort of cutting together old episodes. So it'll be cool for them to be able to make new stuff. And it's cool that they will also release it to streaming. Apparently it's what did it say? 75% of people, kids watch it on streaming anyway and not on PBS. So
yeah, that's what they were saying. That's what was kind of giving them the hit is that they weren't watching it on PBS anymore.
Yeah.
So even that was giving them as little money as they got from PBS. They were even getting less because people weren't watching it on PBS anymore.
Right.
So I had the same thought as you. Just when I first heard it, I was like, "What? This is an outrage!"
Yeah. What are you doing?
Oh, it kind of sounds like they were between a rock and a hard place. And not that HBO is the devil, but it's almost kind of like making a deal with the devil a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Got to save this show. In order to do it, we're gonna have to go kind of sell out a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
But I think at the same time, though, I understand that HBO has, their business that they've got to run. Mm-hmm. And so, but I feel like they didn't have to release those episodes at all.
Right, exactly. They could have held it.
So it could have been a lot worse. It could have been just if you don't have HBO, you don't get to watch Sesame
sucks
Street.
To be you.
So it's kind of, I'm with you where it's more of, I'm like, but it's Sesame Street. I'm like, but it's either that or it goes away, it sounds like.
Right, it seems
they're already
that's
cutting
the case.
episodes. They were already kind of being like, we're kind of stuck here.
Yeah.
Yeah, HBO kind of sounds like they're, I don't want to say bailing them out, but a little bit.
Yeah, that's kind of essentially what's happening. I'm hoping...
It's just more of a bummer that it had to happen.
Yeah.
This is the way that it has to go.
I know, after nearly 50 years.
On public, PBS of all things. Yeah, it's just kind of a bummer, to see that's where it's going. And
yeah. I really hope that at least older episodes of Sesame Street will still air on PBS, because I do think, it's a flawed way of thinking to think that people will have access to it just because it's streaming for free on PBS. Yeah. Because there's still a contingent of people in the United States that don't have internet access regularly.
I thought they were, so they're not, I guess I misread it. I thought they were doing streaming and releasing it to PBS.
I thought it only said that they were streaming it.
Okay.
I didn't see that they were going to air it. I could be wrong. I may have read it wrong. But I just hope that something is going to still be on PBS, because it's an important show, it's important, I think, not only on the sort of what it does in terms of learning and things like that, but also because I think it's important to have cultural things that we all sort of turn to and understand. You know, when we talk about Big Bird or Elmo or things like that, it's not just this educational tool, but it's something that as a society we all have that frame of reference for, and I think we need more of that. This is why I always say too, like, I don't know why we don't have drinking songs or, like, you know, stuff like that, where we have a few things like Sweet Caroline or something. Everyone knows to go bomb, 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 and so good, so good, so good. Stuff like that I think is important in a culture. And so I think Sesame Street as an institution in, you know, a good chunk of television history is just an important thing to preserve. So I hope that that will still be there for all of the kidlywinks to have access to.
Totally.
You know, you have to know that C is for cookie and that you got to put down the rubber ducky if you want to play the saxophone. That's all I'm saying.
Lesson.
It's a life lesson.
I was having a hard time learning to play the saxophone, and then I saw that
You're like,
and I was like,
gotta put down the ducky!
Rubber ducky, you're the one. You make bath time lots of fun.
I know, rubber ducky, man.
There you go.
So many kids are probably hooked on rubber duckies because of that show as well. So, I mean, think about what Ernie has done for the rubber ducky industry in the United States of America as well.
You're welcome, rubber ducky manufacturers.
USA. I actually don't know if rubber duckies are manufactured in the USA, so
Probably not.
Probably not. That screams China.
Yeah.
Realistically. But in other TV news.
Yeah, in other TV news, I sent this one to Corey.
Yeah.
The Notebook. Yes, The Notebook, the Nicholas Sparks movie made famous by Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams, is headed to the CW. And if I'm being honest with you, I'm surprised this is the first Nicholas Sparks book to be made. I would have thought way before now we would have seen a Nicholas Sparks book made into a CW series.
Especially, like, I would say...
This is like their wheelhouse. Hot, young people making out.
Yeah, and then, like, something bad happening to them.
Yeah, and then excessive amounts of drama.
Yeah.
So.
But, like, I would think that they would eschew one that's already been a movie and just take one of his millions of books and make one of those into a TV series, you know? Because, I mean, ostensibly...
Well, I think this one has...
Yeah, people are attached to it. But
it's got the name brand, people know it.
But if you put Nicholas Sparks on something, like, there has never been a good Nicholas Sparks movie, but everyone goes and sees them.
That's true.
So if you put his name on it, I feel like you could really...
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, you can kind of make anything. But this is happening, but they're taking out all the depressing old people stuff.
Yeah, which I was like, of course they are. There's no room for old, sad people and the CW people. Come on, guys.
Yeah, come on.
This is a network that thrives...
Young hotness.
On young
hotness. Chiseled bodies.
Chiseled young hotness. If you're not young and hot, you're not... You're relegated to the back burner.
No, you end up on ABC Family. That's where you go.
Yeah. So.
What was the although?
Although, you know, I mean, I know I toot the horn of this show often, but One Tree Hill had its own, you know, it had Whitey for a long time.
Was
I feel like Dan got progressively older and kind of gross towards the end.
Kind of gross. That's true.
I'm just saying.
But you can't predict the ravages of time when you start a show. When it's on for a million years, you don't know where people's hotness is.
And actually, Whitey
go.
wasn't on it in the last, like, 2 seasons. So.
Is that, Minkus?
No, Whitey was like an old man. He was like...
Oh, okay. What was Minkus's name?
Mouth. Minkus.
That was it. Yes. Okay. I knew he had a weird name.
Mouth McFadden. Marvin Mouth McFadden.
Oh my goodness. Poor Minkus. Poor Minkus.
Anyway, so The Notebook is coming. I'll probably watch a couple episodes because it'll be terrible. And I mean, I give most CW shows at least a couple episodes because they always look so awful that I'm like, I remember me and my old roommate, we were like all about them, you know? Because I made her watch, she would watch One Tree Hill with me even though she was like, this show is ridiculous.
It is. It's ridiculous. It's not.
But then they had that show that was with Amy Teagarden from Friday Night Lights.
No, I know who she is.
Right, so she was on one called Star-Crossed.
She was on that?
Yes.
It's on Netflix.
Dark hair, so it's hard to see her. And I don't think it got renewed. I don't think it got picked up for the back 9. I only think it got the first few episodes. And it was so awful. But so me and her, we like saw the trailer and said, Jamal, we have to watch this. And we did, both of us. And I think both of us made it like 3 episodes. This is so terrible.
Oh, it's so rough. I mean, because CW shows... usually are kind of bad, but they have to have that something that grabs you. Like, I watched Vampire Diaries for like 3 or 4 seasons, you know? There was something there.
I mean, I watched One Tree Hill for 9.
Yeah, watch One Tree Hill for 9. I watched Seventh Heaven for 10 seasons or whatever.
Yeah.
Not Supernatural, Smallville.
But
Supernatural. There always has to be like there has to be something that grabs you in particular to really latch onto them, because they're so melodramatic, and they're just, you know, hot people being hot and sad and angry and all that kind of stuff. But every now and again, one catches you, and you just go with it, you know. And there's some now that I do want to watch more, and I just kind of lost track of. So like, I still want to like finish iZombie. I only watched like the first 3 or 4 episodes, and then school got the best of me or things like that. But, you know, and like The Flash, obviously.
Jane the Virgin.
Jane the Virgin I'm all caught up on. That's not a problem.
Arrow, though, got kind of lame this season. I kind of dropped back.
Yeah, Arrow seems to always be up and down.
I missed the last like 2 episodes of The Flash.
Oh, wait, but the finale's supposed to be like
crazy pants.
Mind blowing. I don't
know what happened in it. So come sure.
Laddie. Oh my goodness.
So then I tried to watch them on Hulu, but you know, like Hulu only shows the last like 6 episodes, and they're on like 12, so
yeah.
It doesn't come back till like October, so I think if I keep checking Hulu,
it'll eventually come back. Or Netflix, because CW always comes to Netflix.
Usually they do right before.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like, and there's things I'm like basically watch the whole season. I could catch up easily before the premiere, but
I know. I need to do that. That's on my list. I need to do it. But, you know, so The Notebook on CW, we'll see how it works out. I can't, like Beauty and the Beast is still on that channel, so, you know.
Yeah, okay. Oh, so I started watching that one on Netflix.
Did you?
It's, like, so terrible. But I'm like, oh my gosh, Kristen Cruick, who I was just, like, ridiculous. And the guy who's on it is, like, so weird.
I don't even know
his voice is, like, strangely hypnotic. Every time he talks, I'm like,
okay.
Like, I'm, like, so entranced by your, like, weird smoker voice. Like, I don't know why.
Okay.
But I thought it got canceled. I'm like, oh, so there's like
me too.
But then I realized today
there's a new season on. It's still going. I was going through like the TV listings, and it was like new Beauty and the Beast. I was like, this is still on. I mean, it feels like. Did you ever watch the original Beauty and the Beast?
With Ron Perlman.
Yeah,
of course I did.
Yeah, and so one of these things. Here's a little fandom scholarship for you. The original Beauty and the Beast 2 was like sort of a cult favorite thing, and it got canceled, and then a letter writing campaign brought it back. But then the fans hated it so much when they brought it back that it got canceled again, because the fans wrote and said, "Stop it. We don't want this anymore." And so it seems like poetic for the new Beauty and the Beast also to like not last. Like, it feels like it shouldn't last longer than the original 90s one that I watched on, what was it, USA? Was that what it was on?
No, it was on a regular channel, because I watched it.
Well, USA is kind of a regular channel. If you have any cable at all, you have USA.
I did have any cable.
Oh, okay.
USA isn't on, like, we had, like, I got up to, like, you know, KCET, which was, like, 23 or something.
Okay, fair enough. Maybe that wasn't what it was on. I don't know, but it was, whatever channel that was on, it just seems like the new one, it would make sense for it to get canceled. It doesn't need to go beyond that.
So we'll see, I guess. But anyway, so CW shows, I'm always for them. I love them. I'm actually,
you always got to give it a go.
And I haven't seen what the new lineup is for this year.
No.
Do they have any new shows?
They must, but maybe within the next couple weeks they have to release that stuff.
I just realized, because I watched a trailer today that was on Facebook, and it was like telling you when all the returning shows were premiering.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, it's something. It was really creepy. Something like banged, but like behind me. And so, like, the entire couch shifted.
Or if this turns into a snuff film, I can't handle it.
It was really scary. So I was like looking, I was like, the dog's over there, so it wasn't him like knocking over anything. I don't know what it was. Anyway, sorry, continue.
That's okay. Anyway, I was watching a video that was like a montage of like all, and giving you the premieres of when the returning shows were coming back. And then, you know, it had, like, all the actors, like, walking through dark hallways, like, looking badass. So, I was like, and then I was, like, waiting, because I thought after they did that, then they would have...
Do the new...
And then, like, new, but then they didn't. I was like, maybe that's not a thing yet. So, we'll see.
I guess they haven't really They haven't announced a lot of stuff. I just saw on some actor, director, writer guy's Facebook that I follow that he was like, today's the first day of filming for our new sitcom, blah, 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 blah. So, like, maybe now they're just in, like, the production phases of making stuff. And then in a couple weeks, we'll finally get to see, like, what it is. What we're going to get. I'm still mourning Selfie from last year, so I don't even care anymore. I don't want you to give me anything and take it away from me again. It's just not.
I still haven't gotten over Almost Human.
Almost Human, Go On, all of the things that I've loved and lost the past few years. This is why I watch things that are already done. Like, I've watched 6 seasons of Californication this summer. Because I know I only have one more season, and I know that's it, that's done. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, well, that's why I thought I was watching Beauty and the Beast, but I gotta stop watching that.
Yeah, now
I'm gonna take it away.
You've screwed yourself. It's unfortunate. So there's that. Hey, there's a lot of movie stuff too. We should talk about.
There are. We should get into that. Yeah. So the first one is we finally have an actual real trailer for The Hateful Eight. So that's the new Tarantino film that's coming out. So it is. If you don't know anything about it, before we'd have this weird like. I don't even know what it was. It wasn't even a trailer. It was just like, hey, here's a list in like an artsy way of the people who are going to be in this. Right. I'm like, I have an idea. Next time, just print out the list and give it to me. I don't need to watch 3 minutes.
I have IMDb, okay?
Yeah, I'm like, I know how to use a computer, Tarantino. So they have this trailer, and so it's Kurt Russell is like a bounty hunter, and he is bringing in this woman, and he stops at the night. They're stuck in some kind of snowstorm, and he's stuck in this like inn for the night, and it's kind of the usual suspects that are in Tarantino films. Right, so you've got Samuel L. Jackson, and you've
Tim
got
Roth, Tim Roth. Michael Madsen, I think, was in there.
Yeah, what's his name? You know, the guy that does Walter Goggins.
Walton Goggins.
The guy
from Justified. Yeah. I love him. BT Dubs.
Sir Humperdinck. What was his name in the Jimmy Kimmel skit?
Christoph. Oh, wait, is Christoph Waltz in it?
Wasn't that him?
No, I think you're thinking of Tim Roth. Yeah.
Oh.
I think, unless I like missed him in it, but I'm pretty sure it's Tim Roth you might be thinking of. But this brings up a point that's problematic for me when I watch this trailer, because I'm like, I feel like I've seen this movie. Like, it says in the beginning, Tarantino's 8th film, and I'm like, yeah, I feel like I've seen this movie 8 times already. Like, the shots that they have of everyone, like, they come in on, like, apparently this is what sort of evil people or, like, shady people do, is they sit in chairs with their hands folded. And so, like, it comes in on Tim Roth doing that, and he looks just like Christoph Waltz. There's a point with, like, a gun under a table that's just like Inglourious Bastards. Yeah. Like, there's all these moments in it that I'm like, this is every single other Tarantino movie. And so the only reason for you to watch it is, like, if you're just, like, really into watching Tarantino films. Like, it just doesn't, from this trailer, it may be super original in practice, but from this trailer, I'm like, this has given me nothing that isn't every single Tarantino film that I've ever seen. You know? It just...
I don't ever watch Tarantino films, so...
Oh, okay, well... then this is probably not as much of a problem for you. I've seen the only one of his films I haven't seen, I think, is Django. And yet there's parts of this that look just like the Django trailer, too. And I'm like, There
you go. Well, anyway, that's coming out.
Yeah,
so
it looks really pretty, though.
I don't watch those movies, so I don't care.
Have you ever seen any Tarantino?
No. Nope.
No Pulp Fiction?
Nope.
No Reservoir Dogs? Wow. No Kill Bill?
I did see the episode of CSI that he directed.
It's the most middle-aged thing you've ever said, Kristen.
That can't be true.
That's true. It can't be true. Not so much. But it's up there, I think. It's definitely on the list.
So I did see that, and he was a guest star on Alias for 2 episodes.
Yeah, he shows up in things occasionally as well.
Yeah, but I haven't... No, but I... Just... And it's funny, I know, because I mean, you know me, I love action movies.
Yeah, it seems like you would have at some point.
But there's this level of violence that I don't care for.
Mm-hmm.
You know? I'm like... Yeah. Not my cup of tea. Like, I can handle violent, but even I can get a little squeamy.
Yeah.
You know, with stuff. I don't necessarily like to see what's
all of it. On. Yeah. It's enough to allude to it, like, to know what's happening without having to see the entire thing.
True. And don't get me wrong, I obviously understand the the usefulness of a well-placed F-bomb.
Sure.
But when it's like literally you're using it as like a noun and a pronoun and a verb
adjective
and an adverb and an adjective. Yeah. And I'm like, you know what? That word is not that versatile. Right. You are overusing it.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. It just, for me, I've never, and honestly, none of them I've never been like, oh, I really want to see that. I just haven't gotten around to it. It's like, I actually just don't have a desire to see any of those movies.
That's understandable.
You haven't seen Inglourious Basterds. I'm like, yeah, no.
Yeah. I don't like Inglourious Basterds because I don't like things that have goodies and baddies in terms of nationalism and things like that. That's not really my cup of tea. So I watched that movie and I felt a little sick afterwards. I was like, I don't like it. I don't like the way it made me feel. Not into that. You know, but, and I think, I mean, this is why I've always had trouble with Deadwood too. Like, I don't really have a problem with profanity, but it's like when it's just so overused, it like makes me feel weird and I don't like it, and violence to that level, that heightened level. So like I said, I've seen just about every Tarantino movie except for Django, but, I have like a very love-hate relationship with him. I think he's one of those sort of auteurs who thinks that he's above reproach. You know, he's always right, and everyone else doesn't get it
because it got leaked or something.
Right? Yeah.
So, well, I'm not going to release it now. I'm like, okay,
okay, shut up.
Zen, you're going to release it because you're going to make $1 billion.
Yeah, and you need this because you thrive off of people's reactions to you. So shut up. Totally. And like, you know, to me, it's just he's an obnoxious figure just in general. But sometimes he makes movies I really like. Like I do really like Pulp Fiction. I do really like Reservoir Dogs. And there's, and he wrote True Romance, I believe, and I really like that movie. He didn't direct it. But, yeah, there's things I love. I just, meh. So this one, to me, just feels like, you know, when you have a director who does a thing and they, like, run out of ideas and they just do their thing instead. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'll still see it. I'll see it, and maybe it'll be better than I think it will, but it feels like I'm going to be meh on it. I'm
just bummed because I'm like, I think I've said before that like westerns aren't like movies that people make anymore, and the only recent westerns have been Django Unchained and The Hateful Eight, and I'm like, I'll just wait for Magnificent Seven to come out.
Yeah,
and then following Chris Pratt, I know he's down in Louisiana filming it because he's also fishing in his free time.
Adorable.
Creepy stalker. You know, so I'm like, I'll wait for that one to come out. So anyway, whatever.
No,
I guess the point is like we're both meh. Corey's gonna see it. I won't. You guys can see it. Tell us what you think.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Feel free to let us know how it comes out.
Crazy person for never watching a Tarantino movie, but I'll just go back and watch that episode of CSI that we did. I mean, I feel like that's enough for me.
Yeah.
That way I can say I've seen something by Tarantino. Totally. Episode season 2. Yeah. It was amazing.
Yeah, I'm not really a Tarantino fan. I've seen his CSI.
Didn't really do it for me. So, but on a more happier note, Inside Out is gonna go mini shorts. So all the Pixar movies, when they do well, they make shorts of them later. So Riley from Inside Out, it looks like, is going to be going on a date here. And the little preview that we get from Entertainment Weekly is pretty adorable. So the boy shows up at the door and the dad is like,
and like, you see his little brain emotion guys going.
It's almost like smoke is going to be coming out of his ears. Like, he cannot compute what's happening. And then the mom is really great, and her characters all look like middle-aged moms, which is fun. And when she goes into the room and is like trying to use slang, I was like,
stop doing it.
I cannot curl into a ball small enough to make you stop talking, right?
So bad. Oh my gosh, it's great. It's so cute, you guys. You have to check it out, and it's apparently going to be on the Inside Out DVD, which we should all own. I think, you know, it's just that movie, it speaks to me on every level, and I will definitely have the Blu-ray of that and get to watch this thing. And it's so cute. I feel like there should be a Riley short for like every stage of life that a kid of that age goes through. Like, let's just have Riley explain the emotions of middle schoolers through the whole thing, you know? Like, all of it. Riley hits puberty, Riley goes on a date, Riley, like, whatever irks a
Riley
kid
goes
of
to
that
college.
Age. Riley goes to college, you know, all of it. She should be guiding our youth.
Riley has a midlife crisis.
I would watch it. I would watch the heck out of that. At least Quarter Life. That's a whole thing in and of itself, too. I mean,
Quarter Life Crisis.
Quarter Life Crisis. That is for real, y'all. That is a thing. So it looks super cute. You can watch that on the blog electricfeast.com to check out that little link, and it should cheer your day. If you're having a bad day, go watch Riley get ready for her first date. It's so cute. It's so cute.
And then Corey and I received probably the best news of the decade. I'm going to go ahead and say that.
Yeah.
Just because we like to speak in hyperboles here.
No, and I think it's a good hyperbole. Like, it's only slightly hyperbolic.
Yeah, I'm sure I know we've mentioned at least these movies millions of times.
Millions.
So, Devil in the White City is definitely now, officially, allegedly, hopefully maybe, coming to the big screen, and it is definitely going to have Leonardo DiCaprio, and Martin Scorsese is going to direct. And it just makes my heart happy, because remember, back when did Hurt Locker was a thing? Remember, Catherine Bigelow? Years ago. 10 years ago, whatever. They're going to make this movie, and Catherine Bigelow was going to direct it. And Leonardo DiCaprio was going to be in it. He's been attached. He's been on board the whole time. He's just been patiently waiting, and I feel like finally he's like, F this. I'm going to call Marty.
Yeah, let's do this. You know.
And he's like, Martin, this is our chance to win the Oscar.
I know. Finally. Like, really.
Do it.
Let's do this. I mean, you guys, we have preached to you the gospel of Erik Larson on so many occasions. He's just an incredible author, and Devil in the White City is such an amazing book that I recommend to everyone I come in contact with. And it's got such great movie potential as well. And when you think about, like, in terms of the Martin Scorsese, Leonardo DiCaprio oeuvre, I think of, like,
what is that word you used?
Never mind. Shutter Island is what I think of. And I think, like, if you think of something like Shutter Island and place that on Devil in the White City, it's going to be amazing. You know, like, one part Shutter Island, one part The Departed. And you've got this incredible mixture that is just going to be so cool. So cool. So cool.
I was reading, so the article was saying at the end they weren't sure if they were going to have the World's Fair angle.
Or at least not necessarily the construction. Yeah. Right. So, which in fairness is, like, not necessarily as interesting in a cinematic way.
True. And, yeah.
But, right. I mean, you do have, like...
You're right.
There are things that happen with, like, the shooting... Yeah. And like, the sickness.
I don't know. I guess I feel bad. I'm like, I don't want them to get left behind just because it's not as, like, sexy as a serial killer.
The serial killer guy.
I was like, but the World's Fair brought us lots of cool things. Like, that was one of granted, like, this build up to having the World's Fair. I would hope maybe not necessarily, like, the whole, like, architecture of the World's Fair. Going in depth with that. But at least, like, glimpses of the World's Fair and the things that came out of it, because I remember reading like that was from this. I was like,
the Ferris wheel and the, like, it was ice cream cones
Cracker
and, like,
Jacks,
like
blue ribbon.
Yeah, that song that goes. That's
you guys, so many things.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're just very excited, as you can tell. Clearly, this is great news. It was really funny because my friend texted me late on whatever night this came out. I hadn't seen it, and he texted me, he's like, did you see this? I was like, is this for real? Because someone told me about this was happening, like, a long time ago, and it didn't. And
like, my heart can't take it anymore.
My heart can't take it. So then he sent me the article, and I was like, this looks legit.
Yeah.
And then my mom emailed me the next morning. She's like, have you read about this? I was like, this is happening! So,
and for those of you that don't know, too, I realize we haven't really totally explained this, and we may have in past things, but the point of this book/movie is that there's, like, essentially the World's Fair is being built up in Chicago in 1891. Is that right? 1893? Somewhere 1890s, somewhere in the 1890s. The World's Fair is happening in Chicago, and they're building up what's called the White City for this World's Fair. So you're following, like, the people who are creating it and all of the problems and drama that's going on with that. But at the same time, because there were so many people coming into the city at a time pre-internet and things like that, so there was a lot of anonymous flow of people coming into Chicago that sort of, you know, were separated from their families and trying to find work in the World's Fair. And so this guy, H.H. Holmes, built up a hotel that it was like a hotel of horrors. Like, it's hard to explain how horrific this is. There's like, he had like gas chambers in it and like all kinds of kilns, crazy stuff made to murder people in it.
And secret like whole like passageways in the walls so that he could kill someone and so he didn't have to like carry their body down.
Yeah, like incinerate them.
Drop down into his like horror of a basement where he would do experiments and be weird and creepy and awful.
It's insane.
And he had like no remorse. And you're following this story, and it's like it was like his wife, this like woman that he was living with, and she's like head over heels in love with him. He was just such a charmer and so charismatic that people and he didn't pay for like anything.
No, and so he had like all these creditors and stuff, which is really what sort of was his downfall, was the fact that so many people were like, you have not paid for anything. It's insane, you guys. And so he eventually like admitted to something like 27 murders or something like that, but they're fairly certain it was upwards of 100, and he's one of the most prolific killers in history.
And thought to be the first American, that they know about at least, the first American serial killer.
Yeah, so it's a pretty insane story.
It is awesome, and it's really good. So if you guys have a chance, read it. Also read In the Garden of Beasts.
Yes.
Do yourself a favor. Just read Eric Larson, because he's awesome.
Do you know how often I think of In the Garden of Beasts? Like, just when you think about, like, the world in general, and you think of the way that, like hindsight being 2020, and the ineffectiveness of diplomats and things like that, and think about In the Garden of Beasts and how horribly things went awry just because we had a terrible ambassador, essentially, who could have stopped Hitler and didn't. Like, oh my god! Oh my god! There's like one person really effed up.
Freaking daughter of his.
And his freaking daughter. You guys, you should read it. So we're excited.
We're very excited. And then also, very excited. We have double Tom news this
Tom. Double your Tom, double your fun.
Double your Tom, double your fun. So the first Tom news is our very own Tom Hiddleston, who we love so much. Everyone knows he's going to be in I Saw the Light, which is a Hank Williams biopic. And they released the first picture of him as Hank Williams. And he looks so good. He looks like Hank Williams. They've done a great job.
If you Google pictures of Hank Williams, it shows like essentially the photo shoot that he's emulating comes up. It's like the most famous photo shoot of Hank Williams. And you're like, yep, same person.
Into it, and so it's going to be really good. And I think a couple months ago that video had leaked of him performing.
Yeah, like a county fair.
Yeah, and I was like, I cannot wait. And so this picture has just gotten me like, I want to see something. So
yeah, I'm stoked on that. And I'm not a big biopic person in general, but
I'm a huge biopic person. I love it.
There you go. But it's Hiddles and Hank Williams. I feel like this is just a combination that's a winner. So we're already planning for my birthday to do some sort of country thing, but we don't want to be like, we're not going to do Carrie Underwood or something like that. So there was the proposal of Hank Williams. I put out there that I think we should do Waylon Jennings' song about Hank Williams.
I'm into that. I love that song. Are you sure Hank would have done it this way? Which is a really good one. So.
And it's delightful.
And it's going to be the debut of our band, Tom Hiddleston and his Wandering Hands.
Yes. Beautiful.
So excited.
I can't wait. It's going to be good. Maybe there will be video, maybe there won't. We'll see what happens. But we'll tell you all about how that debut goes, that's for sure.
We will.
That's about a month away.
Yeah, wait for that to come at you. And then in other Tom news, our very own face actor extraordinaire, Tom Hardy, is going to take on 100 Bullets. So Corey. Yeah. I haven't read that. Have you read that?
I actually haven't read it, no, but I do like Vertigo comics. No, I think Vertigo makes great stuff. And it's an interesting premise that I don't entirely understand, with this idea that,
And I was kind of hoping you understood it so you could explain it. I'm like reading it, I'm like, he has 100 bullets.
He has 100 bullets to solve his problems. He can kill whoever he wants. I don't know what that means entirely. So I'll probably pick up the graphic novel beforehand and see what this is all about, because I'm intrigued by it. I want to know what there's no repercussions or what kind of story this is. It's apparently 100 issues. And I'm just excited to see him in a comic book movie. I mean, obviously he was in Batman, but I only vaguely consider that a comic book movie because they're not comic booky at all. But I don't know. I'm just stoked on getting to see him in this role. I love him in those sort of vengeful things, especially because one of the things that Tom Hardy does so well is make vengeful or angry characters really like human and like complex. Mm-hmm. And so from the sound of this character, I feel like it's going to be interesting to see how he presents it, you know, like just in his Tom Hardy way, where you're gonna feel emotions towards him
that he's feeling.
Yeah, that you wouldn't with
eyes.
Just anyone. Like some people can play like a really good badass, right? Like Jason Statham is a really good badass, but you never really feel for Jason Statham. You know, that's not who he is. But when Tom Hardy plays someone, it's like he can be angry and aggressive and do crazy things, but at the same time, you're like, his emotions are my emotions right now.
I could be him. If I got pushed, I could do that.
Yeah.
I could do that.
So I'm stoked to see him in this role. Our Toms are doing good things that...
I am excited. It's going to be the year of the Tom.
The year of the Tom. I'm totally into that. Also of Alicia Vikander. She is in everything right now. I just feel like it's worth saying this. Every time I look at the, like... cast of anything, Alicia Vikander is in it right now.
I don't know who that is.
She's the robot or the AI from Ex Machina, and she's also in
is she the fake Tinder girl?
The fake Tinder girl. She's also in Man from U.N.C.L.E. She's I was looking at something else as I was preparing today, and she's in that, and like she's just everything right now has Alicia Vikander, which I'm into because Ex Machina, she was incredible. So it's the year of the Toms and Alicia Vikander.
There you go.
FYI. I actually watched a Carson Daly episode for her.
Wow.
Yeah. Carson Daly. Nobody watches Carson Daly.
I didn't even know Carson Daly was still on TV.
It's still on TV. I know the editor of Carson Daly, and every time she's like talking about work or whatever, I'm like, you still work at Carson Daly? Really? In 2015? Huh. That's amazing. But like a month or two ago, she was on there, and I was like, I want to go to bed, and I don't want to watch Carson Daly, but I do want to watch Alicia Vikander because she's amazing, and it was worth it. So, yeah, look out for her, man. She's gonna be a big deal.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying. What else do we have?
We've got some fun. Oh, we should talk about this other new comic coming out of Marvel. Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. So apparently back in the day there was a Devil Dinosaur and Moon Boy who was like a caveman that kind of coexisted with this T-Rex.
Much like the good dinosaur.
Yes, except a T-Rex, not a...
Brontosaurus?
Yeah. Sorry, thank you. So they are coming, they're kind of doing I don't even know what they want to call it.
Reimagining, I guess?
Yeah, reimagining. Yeah, I like that. There you go.
We'll go with
that. And it's with a young girl.
Yep.
Genius girl.
Yep.
Who is, and it's set in modern day, so she's not a caveman. She's a regular girl, obviously. And she's a genius, and so she's got this. And so the plot was, I was reading it, and I'm like, maybe I don't know enough about what's going on, but it sounds kind of like, I mean, it's going to be kind of a story of her, like, she doesn't really know how to relate to the world around her because she's so smart. And I don't really know how old she was supposed to be, 14 or 15, I guess.
Is she that old? I wasn't sure. Because it's supposed to be also sort of an all-ages comic, which is nice.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, yeah, exactly. And so I guess I was trying to go by the drawing of her, which is stupid now that I think about it. Anyway, but it looks cool, and so it's a young girl, and she's a genius, and she's got this dinosaur, and they,
Yeah, and she looks like one of my favorite actresses and public figures, Amandla Stenberg, who played Rue in The Hunger Games, and is just a general badass human being, which is fun as well. So I hope someday they make a movie, like soon, because Amandla Stenberg is only going to be a kid for so long.
Yeah, but they haven't even had the comics not out yet.
Yeah, but I mean, it's Marvel, so they can be developing these things in tandem.
That's true.
You know,
that's true.
And it looks really cute, and I like the idea. I mean, Mac and I have been talking recently about like the fact that people come into the comic book store and they're constantly trying to find something that's appropriate for kids. You know, they don't want any punching, they don't want violence, they don't want all this kind of stuff. But you know, there's not a ton of that isn't then like the total baby end of the spectrum in terms of what they can buy. And so this sounds like it's really sort of a middle ground that I think a lot of families can get into. And what's really cool is that the people who are creating it too were very adamant about sort of feeling like they had never really seen themselves reflected in comics. And so to make this sort of tween African-American girl protagonist was very important to them, just to be like, here's also someone that people don't get to see a lot of in comic books, and to be able to put that out there for people. So it just feels across the board like it's going to be something that's very relatable to a broad swath of people, whether it's because they feel alienated because of their interests, or whether they just don't ever see themselves reflected in comics, or or if there's nothing to read for them because they're too young, or things like that. And I'm like,
or they want to share comics with their kids, but they don't. So I feel like that's the thing. Like, parents are like, I love comics and I want to be able to impart, give that my passion with my children, but I can't read.
Yeah, I'm not going to hand Judge Dredd to a child, something like that. Exactly. So I think it just seems really cool, and I like the ethos behind it. I think it just seems like a really interesting project, and I can't wait to add it to my poll when they finally get this thing out.
Project, which I think is always sometimes it's hard to go wrong with those. Sometimes you go wrong, but
especially when you have, it's so rare to have like a real passion project come out of Marvel. I feel like a lot of passion projects come out of places like Image or like Vertigo, Dark Horse, things like that. But for somewhere huge like Marvel to take a risk on a passion like that, even though it's one of their old characters that they're recycling, I still feel like this is a really good sort of move for them in terms of, putting something out there that has a lot of potential to fail, but also could be really great. Mm-hmm. So good job, Marvel.
Good job, Marvel.
And creators of Moon Girl. I'm excited about it. You're really excited.
I'm really excited. Okay. So I think I've mentioned before on this podcast, you guys, that me and my brother and I we're like hardcore rock fans when it was back in the day. So junior high and high school, all through my adolescence, we didn't have cable. So we watched SmackDown, which someone was asking me, I think it was on UPN. I'm actually
that really sounds sure. Right. Yeah.
SmackDown was on UPN on Thursday nights, and we would always stay up, and it was like 2 hours long. And so from 8 to 10 we'd watch it, because always at like 9:40 is when The Rock would come out and have it. So
they know how to keep you.
I always have this kind of special soft spot in my heart for the WWE, because I don't know, it was something it was something we did together, and definitely in junior high, and then partway through high school is when we kind of started hanging out more, and he tolerated me more as a human and not just as an annoying sister.
Yep.
So I just kind of feel like we have this, I don't know, it holds a special place in my heart, is the point.
I get that.
Story. And so Stephen Amell, who is
Arrow,
Oliver Queen on Arrow, was recently, it was like, actually I was watching something on USA, and it was like, coming up on Raw. So Raw was always the cable version that us poor kids didn't get to watch. Coming up on Raw, like, special guest Stephen Amell's gonna be there, and I was like, what? And I'm like, I'm not gonna stay up and watch Raw because I was tired, and I'm old. But the next day they had this clip where he's like in the audience, if you guys have ever seen it, it's so amazing how great this was. He's like staring down. First of all, this wrestler's name is Stardust, and his face is painted silver, and he has a star. So he already seems a little bit like a pansy. And he's kind of like staring down Stephen Amell, and Stephen Amell's got like a hat on, like in regular clothes, like in the audience.
He's just in the audience.
Yeah,
it's great.
They are like face to face, and he's like, whatever. And then the guy kind of turns away, like, you're not worth my time. And then kind of turns and like pushes him down. And Stephen Amell rips his hat off and jumps in the ring and just goes, boom, and is like pummeling this guy. And I'm like, what? This is the best thing I've ever seen in my life, because I feel like Stephen Amell as a person is just a person. Like, he plays a superhero on TV, but really in real life, you don't think of him as in like being this like badass person,
right?
And so it's this weird like mixture of his like TV persona, who is a super badass, and it just was so great.
Which is so WWE, it's so wrestling, where there's a mixture of a real person and a persona.
And my friend Brianna right now is watching. She's like, Kristen, I'm obsessed with the WWE divas. I can't stop watching it. And so we were joking about that, because she's like, because they don't. She's like, it's fake, right? Like in your heart and your mind knows that, but they believe that it's not so much that sometimes I'm like, maybe it's not fake. I don't know. Like, they seem to really really not be sure like who's going to win SummerSlam, you know.
Right.
And the point is that Stephen Amell is going to come back and they're going to tag team and he's going to go against Stardust in SummerSlam. And I'm like, part of me so badly wants to watch it, but it's pay-per-view. SummerSlam always is usually. So
I'll find a way.
So anyway, it was just so fun. It was so great to see him hype in there. And I was talking with one of my students because he had actually asked me, did you see the video of Stephen Amell? I was like, of course I did. I'm like, and clearly he's going to beat up some guy named Stardust, because if you've seen Arrow, he does this workout, which is real because it seems to be like the camera's on him and he's doing it. He's got this like metal contraption with these like little bars, and then he has a metal bar, and he does this like jumping up the
and
it's, like,
they do that on Ninja Warrior. That's a thing.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And so you know he's fit. You've seen him with his shirt off in Arrow if you've watched Arrow at any means. So I am just think this is the most wonderful thing in the whole world. I just think it's delightful and wonderful, and I love it.
Yeah, I'm for it.
I actually would really love it if what's his face from Arrow would be in it too, the red guy.
I've never watched Arrow, so I don't know.
Okay, well, he's got like a sidekick kind of that's like in red, but I forget what his name is. All right. Now I'm totally blanking. Anyway.
Well, maybe he will be. We'll see. We should petition.
We should petition. But anyway, it was just delightful. So you guys should check out the video if you can. And if you like WWE like I do, it will just warm your heart to see this kind of breakdown of... Anyway, it's wonderful. So
yes. So there's that. And the final thing on the internet that we really need to address.
Yeah. This is fringe status, you guys.
Let me ask you, Kristen, how did you pronounce this?
No. Yeah, I was in the Berenstein Bears.
Berenstain Bears. This is a thing that's been floating around.
I seriously think it's a conspiracy because they keep showing the book covers. I'm like, no,
it's wrong. It's wrong. This is a thing that's been floating around for years. I remember seeing it years ago, but it's come around again this week, and everyone's talking about it. There's this thing about whether you remember the books as being called Berenstein Bears or Berenstain Bears. And the books are actually called Berenstain Bears because the authors of it, their last name was Berenstain. The thing is, so there's this theory that goes along with it that it's like a parallel universe thing. So it's like this weird like paradox, and they call it the Mandela effect. And I don't know if you read about this at all, Kristen.
I read the article, which was a trip.
It's such a trip. There's a large contingent of people who think
like
that they think that Nelson Mandela died in prison in 1980, and they have memories of his funeral being televised, and there being like some like controversy about his estate and things like that. They very vividly remember this. Nelson Mandela died only like 2 years ago. This is not a thing, and yet there's a whole contingent of people who believe this. And so then there's this Berenstain thing, and someone has decided that it's actually evidence of like parallel universes. And so some of us grew up in a universe in which they were called Berenstein Bears, and somewhere along the timeline it became Berenstain, and those of us who existed in the other one still remember that and are super confused by it, but it's very definitively Berenstein Bears.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
It is crazy, and I feel like a crazy person,
right? Like it makes you feel insane to be like, why did I think this was Berenstain? Like there was no part of me that thought it was Berenstain growing up, and I was a pretty good reader.
And I'm like you, before this story broke, not even broke. I mean, came back around.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, maybe. The girl that I work with, she actually bought a Berenstein Bears book because she was it was about, whatever. I mean, they were great books. I remember them vividly, the stories that they taught you.
Yeah.
So it was something about being nice to people. I forget what it was. Anyway, she bought it because she was going to read it for, on Sundays for for her kids. She does 3rd through 5th grade. And she's like, oh, did you read these books? I'm like, oh, yeah. So I'm like, totally into the book comes in, all this whole deal. And then this story comes out. I'm like, no, we just bought one and it was Berenstein Bears.
It's definitely Berenstain.
Just definitely Berenstein. And then my friend Lauren, who's been on our show, you guys, is the Cumberbatch correspondent. She texts me and she goes, this is a super random thing, but do you remember those books back? I'm like, oh, you've seen the article. Right? She's like, I don't feel like I'm going crazy. And I'm
it's
like,
insane.
I know. It's insane.
And there's like a whole Reddit thing, like a subreddit that's about, it's called Glitch in the Matrix. That's various things like this that confuse people. And another thing on there is like the positioning of New Zealand. So it's like, it's about like whether you think New Zealand is north or south of Australia. And when I saw this, I was like, it's north, right? It's north. It's not. It's south. It's south of Australia. And this like blew my mind. And I posted about it. I alerted my brother to this, and he was like, this thread was all fun and games until I got to the Australia one. And I was like, I know. I have no idea. Like, now I have no clue where New Zealand is.
Like, legit, this is like fringe status. We have crossed over into the other universe.
Yeah.
Our other selves are over there, or they've been murdered, and so we crossed over. I mean, we're like, we're Joshua Jacksoning this right now. Jacksoning at this right now.
That's fine. I got it.
Anyway, and it's like, that's the first thing I thought of. I was like, whoa, where am I? Like, where's Olivia?
Yeah.
Do I have an aura? Like, what's happening right now?
It's bizarre. I can't, and I mean, really, with the Berenstein Bears, being reasonable about it, listen, the book was in cursive, the title's in cursive, and also, like, you're used to hearing Steen and not Stain as a name. And so that's probably why we all remember it wrong. But it's still, like, so many, like, the majority of people seem to remember it wrong.
And here's the thing about those books. Those books are read to children who are too young to read.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So an adult
so their parents were reading it wrong.
Been mis-saying it to you.
Yeah.
An adult read me that book and was like, oh, the Berenstein Bears. I'm like, oh, great, the Berenstein Bears.
Yeah. What are you doing? I don't. Yeah.
But the thing is, like, it's like, I remember being E. I remember there being an E. There has to be. There
has to be. Life does not make sense if there was not an E.
I'm talking about a quarter-life crisis. I'm like existentially falling apart here.
Yeah, it's really bizarre, you guys. If you look up this, I mean, I linked to it on the blog, electricfeast.com. You can see one of the articles that talks about this and links to the idea of the Mandela effect and all that. And you can go to the subreddit Glitch in the Matrix, read some of these stories, and it's just, there's so many things that it's weird how we can manufacture, like, mass public delusions of things, like the really beyond the Berenstein Bears thing. Like, how does a large contingent of people think Nelson Mandela died in prison?
Yeah, I don't know.
How does that...
That one's weird, and for some reason that seems really weird to me, but the Berenstein Bears one does not seem weird. I'm like, well, clearly that's a thing, I believe that one.
Yeah,
but
we're from a parallel universe here, apparently. Yeah, the Mandela one, just like, it's like, what? How does that happen? Yeah. I don't know. So, you guys, that's the thing. We don't mean to, leave you on a note that's going to totally ruin your night, but, I mean, look this stuff up, man. It's crazy. And tell us, we're curious, what do you remember the books as being? Were they Berenstain or Berenstain? And from what I've heard, too, apparently the TV show or the audiobooks said Berenstein as well.
Said Berenstain.
Yeah,
so I feel like it's not really our fault.
It's not our fault.
Clearly, we're the right.
Clearly,
we're right, and someone's pulling a huge joke on us.
Right? Like, I'm waiting for it to be like someone's like, JK, we photoshopped everything, and it's not really Berenstain. We just manufactured this to confuse the hell out of all of you.
Or I'm waiting for, like, the book publisher to be like, suckers, we've been reprinting them for the past 10 years with an AI in just to mess with you.
Exactly. Because it makes no sense. It makes no sense at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So that's where we're at, guys.
That's where we're at. This is where our lives are.
That's where we're at.
Berenstain.
Or Stein. We don't know.
Or Stein. I don't know. So, we're gonna take our leave. Tomorrow, Chris and I are gonna eat delicious butterscotch pudding. And
Havarti cheese fries, truffle fries.
And Havarti cheese truffle fries, because our lives are dope and we do dope-ish. That's all I'm saying. So, make sure that you check us out. Subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, Twitter, SoundCloud, wherever you can find us. Subscribe to us on there. Rate and review us so that other people can find us too. And share us with your friends when you enjoy our episodes. I would like to send a shout to a year ago, our episode. Re-listen to that with Michael Mulcher from 2000 AD. Just discovered because of Facebook's little time hop feature that was a year ago, a couple days ago, and it's one of the best episodes that we've ever had. So go back to that, listen to that episode, be inspired, and then share it with your friends. And don't forget to talk to us, too. We want to hear your feedback. We want to just know who you are. We have a great time getting to know fans on Facebook and things like that. And we've gotten to have cool relationships with lots of you. So don't be afraid to talk to us.
Yeah, please do. Honestly, it's fun. It's really fun. And anyway.
It's really cool. And we'll announce the book club date next week.
Yes.
Maybe even before that on the Facebook page, but we'll announce it in the show next week. So get your copy of The Martian so that we can all meet up and talk about it.
I hear it's a quick read.
Yeah, it's a quick read, and everyone has loved it who has talked about it so far. So I'm so stoked to read it and talk about it. I think it's going to be a really good one. Our last book club was so much fun. We had such a great time, and we really want to have more of you and have more input and just really delve into this stuff because reading is cool. But you don't have to take my word for it. Butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high. Take a look, it's in a book, Reading Rainbow. Yeah. So for this week, Corrigan Vaughn here.
Kristen Lotterell over here.
Peace out, everybody.
Take it easy, kids.
Well, I'm doing a paleo thing, so I'm not eating fries at the moment. All right.